really do look like a movie star. He's just hanging out with his shades on, you know. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, every day. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see you today. Well, I don't need to talk about that because that's all in the past. What's totally in the past is whatever thing it was, the head cold thing, that thought it was the boss. And it was the boss for a little while, and now it's not.
Yay.
And thank you. So today our talk title is, are you ready? And the question that I posted to give people a little bit of a clue about where I was going with this subject. The question that I posted was, if whatever it is you think you're lacking, that you believe would make you happy, if you had it, or if your circumstance was changed to that degree, if it landed in your lap right this moment, out of the blue, are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Now, I hear the yeses, but think about it for a minute. If we think about whatever it is that we believe stands between us, and the lack of which stands between us and having whatever it is we want to have, perfect contentment, financial security, freedom, whatever it is, perfect health, were it to literally land right in front of us right now, is there no preparation that we might want to consider to step into that life? Because the kind of shift that was shift, the kind of shift I'm talking about is a big one. It's a significant one. Because whatever it is that we think stands between us and the life that we desire is not a small thing. And how do I know it's not a small thing? Because we believe it stands in the way of our happiness. And for us to believe that something stands in the way of our happiness, it's a big thing. So let me ask the question again. Were it to land in your life right now, out of the blue, are you ready?
Yes.
You bet.
Have you done the preparation? If you stop and think about it, have you done the preparation that might be required in order to actually live that life. Now, I've got a whole side of the room over here that's going, yeah! This side of the room, not so much. You know, there's preparation required for everything. There's preparation required for breakfast. There's preparation required for getting ready to leave our house for the day. There's preparation required if we have fur family, there's preparation required to take care of them. There's preparation required for everything. And I would posit, old-fashioned word, some of you might know it, I would posit that we aren't really ready for the spiritual life we want to live, let alone the physical one. We may think we're ready, but being ready to receive and open to receive is not the same as preparation.
Right.
It's not the same as exploring how is it going to change me? And if it will change me, and if it's a big enough deal that we actually think it stands between us and the life of our dreams, believe me, it will change us. Because how would we be different right now? New question. How would we be different right now from who we are or how we are if we were living that life? How would we be different? Rita?
Well, for me, you have to trust. I have to trust myself, and I have to trust God. 100%, no doubts.
Great. So what Rita shared with us is one of the ways that she would be different is she has to trust herself and she has to trust God 100%, no doubts.
Yes.
And
have to love.
And for a lot of us, that would be different than where we are right now. Because a transformed life, whether it's physically transformed or spiritually transformed or emotionally transformed, a transformed life requires tools in order to live it fully. Because we can't bring our old junk to the new life. It clogs the pipes. Sorry, Laura. I'm not suggesting that was the issue.
That was why.
But it does. It clogs the pipes. It gets in the way of what would be the natural flow of things. When I did the meditation, the pre-service meditation this morning, one of the things that I talked about was divine timing. We have an issue with divine timing. as human beings because we want it to be our timing. We want it to be a match. We want our timing to actually inform divine timing so that divine timing shows up in the way and at the time that we have in mind. Well, I read something very interesting yesterday that the Buddha had to say about that. Life does not move on your schedule. You may have noticed. It moves in its own timing. What is meant for you cannot be taken away. And what passes you never truly was yours. You are not late. You are not behind. Each step, even the confusing ones, is part of your path. Let go of what no longer feels right and trust what feels true, which is exactly what Rita was talking about. When you stop forcing and start trusting, life begins to align naturally. When you stop forcing and you start trusting, life begins to align naturally. What is meant for you will find you at the right time, in the right way. Just the feeling as I say the words of letting go of any idea to the contrary and allowing life to align naturally. It has such a feeling of grace, such a feeling of bless you on the truth, such a feeling of blessing, such a feeling of expansiveness. When life aligns naturally, which it does, by the way, all around us, it figures stuff out all by itself. We are the ones that think that we have to run the show, that we have to be in control of how and when and who and why and etc. Well, we can think that. We can think that all we want. But that's what's interfering. You know, the block that I was referring to, that I said, whatever you imagine is in the way of your happiness, that's it. That's it. Is our belief that this is the way it has to happen. It's the only way it can happen. It's the only way it will happen. And as long as we are attached to those beliefs, first of all, that's exactly what we will be dealing with, is circumstances that feel in the way, because we're fighting the natural flow. We're fighting divine timing. We're fighting the divine order of things. That's what's in the way. And that also interferes with our preparation. Because if we weren't so busy deciding, that's what we do, you know, is we decide. We decide that this is how it is. And while we're deciding, we could be preparing to live exactly the life that we desire. We could be preparing in our mind. We could be preparing in our hearts. We could be preparing in our choices. Because let me ask you another question, rhetorically. Would you be making the same choices that you've made just this past week? Would you be making the same choices were the life of your dreams to be the one that you were actually living? And this isn't an accusation. This isn't a shaming, blaming thing. This is exposure. What I'm doing is I'm taking the process and I'm making it naked before you so that you can see what's available to you as you change your mind about how you're living and what's important and what you trust. In Carol's reading about our genius, the genius that she spoke of, the genius that she read about, as well as that beautiful quote from Goethe, which I love that part and the whole thing. So it says to decide has magic in it. But it's not the same kind of decision that I'm talking about that we've been making, where we've been deciding how it has to be. The decision that quote refers to is to decide to take a step towards, in the direction of what it is that we want to experience, how it is that we want to feel. And if we're willing, we can make the how it looks a little fuzzy. We can let that get a little fuzzy because then it can show up even better than we imagined. So we aren't letting the feeling get fuzzy. We aren't letting the trust get fuzzy because we're trusting the process. What we're letting get fuzzy is the how and the specifics of the what. Now we have to decide about the what, but we can let the edges be a little, you know, back in kindergarten when we were doing finger paints and we would just go like this and the edges would be all fuzzy. Because that part isn't up to us anyway, and the sooner we let go of it, the better. The sooner we let go of that part of it, the specifics of it, the how of it, the when of it, the better, because that's not how it's going to happen anyway. That's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it's going to look. That's not, that, it just isn't. But boy, oh boy, is it going to feel good.
Yes, indeed.
And be uplifting. And be a relief. And be a joy. And be a joy that we can share. And be freedom. Preparation, though, is necessary. And a big part of that preparation is cutting out the nonsense that we've been engaged in, thinking that we had to figure this all out. And then being ticked off because even though we had it all figured out, it wasn't, I love this. It's not working. Why isn't it working? Because we're looking at the wrong thing. We're looking at the wrong thing. And meanwhile, the divine God, the universe, spirit is going, but wait a minute. I'm over here. I'm right here. Look over here. So we have some big decisions to make. If being ready is, even though we thought we were, if being ready is important in a different way now, in our mind, in our hearts, in our spirit, if feeling really ready, the life that we cannot wait to live. Our preparation, first, in fine-tuning our trust and being willing, here's an easy part, being willing to let go of our ideas of what's required. Well, nobody fainted. That's good. Because being willing to let go of our ideas of what's required leaves it all to the realm of unlimited potential. And I would way rather have the realm of unlimited potential figuring stuff out for me than me thinking that I know or I have to know or I have to control whatever in the world it is. Because the realm of unlimited potential has no limitations. And I'm full of them. Well, I don't have as many as I used to have. But we all still have them.
Yeah.
Whether we realize it or not. Our imagining, our feeling into a changed situation that is improved, whatever it is, we will hit that speed bump, and that's a limitation that we believe in. And flattening that puppy out so that it's no longer in our way, that is part of our preparation. And you all thought you had nothing to do to get ready.
It's always
You know, I want to talk to you for a couple minutes about spiders. Because Janice and I were having this conversation about spiders this morning. I know, we talk about weird stuff. Anyway. Spiders are amazing. Now, granted, they're not the only living thing that does this, but they're a really good example. They build a new house every day from scratch. After, because they do both things in the daytime. They tear down the one they built yesterday, just like it doesn't matter. Totally not attached to any of its accoutrement or how fancy it might have been. They tear it down and then they build a new one. And it might be exactly the same. It might be different. It might be in the same place. It might be in a different place. This is just, they do this without having an argument with themselves first, saying, well, God, this means I have to move. And I don't know if I can take all my stuff with me. They have no inside conversation about anything being in the way of them starting new day with a brand new house that they have to build from scratch. I know. Isn't that right? You know, I think to myself, if I ever have to move again, and someday that'll probably happen, they may have to just pack me up in a box and put me on a truck with all of the rest of the stuff, because I am not moving anything. But spiders don't do that. This is just their routine. Can we even imagine being that detached? Can we even imagine being that free to just start over? And if we can imagine, that's a cool thing because we can start over every day. Because what? We're new every day. So, whatever it is, bottom line here, whatever it is that any of us have held so tightly as our idea of what's in the way, of whatever it is we believe it's in the way of, we just have one thing to do, and that's let it go. Be willing to let go of the idea that there is anything in the way of our good. Because as the Buddha so beautifully said, what's ours is ours, and it cannot be taken from us, and we are not late, and we are not behind.